Welcome to Coaching Changes Lives. So glad you can join us this week. Now, this week we're going to explore a series of different competencies to help you better in your coaching process and help to skill you in your coaching competencies as well. Now, this week we're going to focus on ethical practice. Now, recently, ICF have updated their competencies, and in the traditional sense, we have 11 competencies, and today we're going to focus on just 8. So these updated 8 competencies was first established in 2019, and the entire year of 2020 we've been updating that, and even here at Coaching Changes Lives, we've been teaching those 8 competencies as well in our programs. So whether you're new to our channel or maybe you're one of our students, don't really hit the subscribe button and notification bell to stay tuned with all the latest updates that we have for you. Now, one of the exciting things about the competencies is that competencies are a foundation for us to understand how to navigate a conversation, especially in the coaching context. So when we think about competencies, don't think of it as a tool, as a technique. Think about it as a foundational piece for us to consider how to hold a coaching conversation with our peers, our clients, our teams, and our leaders. So one of the key attributes here as we explore the different competencies over the next several weeks is as we go deeper, I want you to take some time to reflect on some of these competencies because they will really help you to dive deeper than ever before. Now, are we ready for this? So, a while ago, ICF updated it to the 8 competencies, and I'm going to show this 8 based on the coach model. Now, the coach model is something that we teach in our classes, in the MIC class, Mastery in Coaching, in our Team Leadership Performance Coaching, in our Transformative Neurolinguistics Programming Coaching, and even our ACTP program on Coaching Intelligence Mastery. Now, what is the coach framework, the coach model? Now, you'll often hear me say this. I don't really like a model because a model kind of box you up. I like to call it a framework to consider different competencies. And I like to use the acronym of A or COACH, coach. COACH, coach. Right? So C stands for communication or connection. So let's take a look first. The first C, it's about connection. Connection is about to build rapport and trust with the client. And that ties in with the competencies of demonstrates ethical practice, cultivates trust and safety. Now, O, it's about outcome. What makes a coaching conversation a great coaching conversation? It's that it has an outcome. It's outcome driven. It's results driven. So outcome, it's about creating goals and desired outcome for the client. It's about establishing and maintains agreement. Number 8, facilitates client growth. So that's competencies number 3 and number 8. A, which is awareness, is to help clients gain awareness of themselves and how they can achieve their goals. That is about evoking awareness. And C, it's about communication or communicate, to communicate effectively and use the language that creates the greatest positive impact for the client. And that is tied in with our listens actively. And finally, H, it's about being here in the present moment with the client and embody an open mindset, a flexible one. So that ties in with competency number 2, which is embodies a coaching mindset, and competency number 5, maintains presence. So these 8 competencies over the course of this year, we're going to break it down for you. And we're going to dive deeper in each one of these competencies to really help you to go deeper in the competencies. So every week, stay tuned because every single week we're going to break down each one of this and we're going to demystify the coaching competencies. Now, too often people say, "Oh, I know this 8 competencies. Oh, I know that." Do we know, or are we actually practitioners of them? Are we people who just speak forward, or do we really understand them, the qualities of them, and do we really understand what they truly mean? So in this video, I'm just going to break down the very first competency, which establishes every single thing. Because without this one, every single other competencies, no matter how great you are, it's going to fall flat. And that is about demonstrating ethical practice. Now, ethics is the core of the coaching process because your clients are trusting you. Your clients, your teams are trusting you to coach them in a way that is unlike any others. So those ways that your team has trusted you in, they want to make sure that there is an ethical safety for themselves in the conversation. And whatever they conduct, we are upholding not just our profession as a coach, but our fellow peers who are coaches around the world as well. Because we want to shape the entire coaching industry. The future of coaching lies in the way we demonstrate our coaching abilities and the way we speak and communicate about coaching. Now, coaching is not like mentoring. Coaching is not like training. Coaching is not like facilitation. Coaching is not like teaching or instruction. Coaching is a specific set of skill. It's about a co-creative process, partnering the client through a thought-provoking and creative process to inspire change and maximize potential. So there is a certain process in the coaching journey. So when we look at the competencies, it's not about just trying to achieve a certain target, achieve a certain competency marker. No, it's more than that. It's about being. We're moving from doing to being. So if you have not watched some of my videos as well, I encourage you to watch some of those videos that we have in this channel. Review those videos because those videos are going to be really helpful for you to get better in your competency. Now, why do we begin in competency number 1 on demonstrating ethical practice? Well, for one, ethics is the core of it all. When you think about it, ethics actually upholds your morality. It also upholds our ethos. How do we conduct ourselves as a coach? And how do we communicate this with our clients? For example, if the client comes to you with a certain issues like suicide or certain issues that's beyond the scope of what you can do as a coach, what should you do? Now, if a client comes to you with a case of clinical depression, so they've been clinically diagnosed by the doctors, should you take on such a case? Or if a client comes to you with a certain mental condition and they ask you to coach them, now is that something ethical for the coach to do? Or if the client comes to you and said, hey, coach, can you give me some advice on this? Can you give me some consultation on that? Now, is that what a coach is to do? How should a coach communicate? And that's going to be key in establishing those ethical practice. Now, like any other professions as well, whatever professions there are, there's also that upholding of ethics. Now, that's going to be key because too often, many coaches go the easy way around. When they see an opportunity, they may dive in there and they may not realize that a conflict of interest between what the coach is doing and what the clients are looking for. So be very clear of what your outcomes are. Be very clear of your intentions as well, because your clients are trusting you. And they're not just trusting you, they're trusting the badge of honor, the association you belong to. So the ICF, the International Coaching Federation, upholds the gold standard for coaching all around the world. Students from all around the world come and join our classes here at Coaching Changes Lives, whether you're here virtually or when I travel around the world, you tune into our classes. We teach coaches how to have better conversations, because we say this all the time, that coaching, it's conversation mastery. Having one conversation at a time to really impact and change lives. Now, are you ready for this? Let's dive into our very first competency known as ethical practice. So let's take a look at this. Now, the ICF demonstrates ethical practice as understands and consistently applies coaching ethics and standards of coaching. So there are several points here that we're going to dive in. Number 1, demonstrates personal integrity and honesty in interactions with clients, sponsors, relevant stakeholders. Number 2, is sensitive to the client's identity, environment, experiences, values, and beliefs. Number 3, uses language that's appropriate and respectful to the clients and sponsors and relevant stakeholders. And number 4, abides by the ICF Code of Ethics and upholds the core values. So I have a entire video on the ICF Code of Ethics. I want you to watch that video as well, because that video will support the video that you're going to watch here. So when we think about ethics, there's several points here. We talk about personal integrity. Now, sometimes I've come across coaches who don't have a personal integrity, or there's a lack of personal integrity. For example, they may claim something, but they may do something else instead. So you as a person, because coaching is a people business, how we communicate with our clients, how we demonstrate our integrity truly matters. Are we upholding a standard? Because your clients are looking up to you. Your clients are trusting you. Your clients are trusting that you're able to take them to a place where they want to be. So integrity, it's the bedrock of it all. And notice this, it's integrity and honesty in interactions with clients, sponsors, and relevant stakeholders. So which means to say that as we are communicating with all these different people and all these different stakeholders, it's important of how we convey ourselves, how we convey the messages to them, and how we convey the meanings behind all of them as well. So are we also sensitive to the client's identity? For example, are we respectful to the genders? Are we respectful to the culture? Are we respectful to different localities and regions they belong to? Are we respectful to their traditions, their customs, their attitudes, their belief systems as well? Are we honoring them as well? So this is something for us to be also mindful of as well as coaches. Because sometimes as coaches, we may come from a different place or different culture, especially when we're doing cross-cultural coaching, or perhaps you're coaching executives who might be coming from a different place or different land to your country. Or perhaps you're coaching across countries as well. Are we mindful about the way we speak? Are we mindful of the language we communicate with? Are we mindful also about the way we engage our clients? Are we mindful of even the little nuances, the body language, the gestures? Are we mindful of all those little nuances? So it's sensitive to the client means that our calibration to the client must be of a higher level. Now, I cover this in our neurolinguistics program in level 1, level 2, level 3, and level 4, where we explore how do we calibrate to our client. What do we mean calibrate? Now, in the course of a conversation, the client states may go up and down, it may go in and out, and we are calibrating towards them. As we're having conversations, have you seen before on the faces of others that their face begin to change in response to your comments, in response to your questions, and that is because of those state changes. Now, those is what we call calibration. So I welcome you to our class, and I'm going to have a video as well about calibration. How do we calibrate to our clients? Not just the verbal language, but also the non-verbals, the emotional level, and energy level as well. Now, another thing that's really important is about this calibration to the environment and experiences and the values and beliefs. So our clients operate in a different environment for us. Now, all of us here on planet Earth, there's 7.6 billion of us, all of us here on planet Earth, each of us are unique individuals, which means our environment is kind of different. We may both be living in the same house, but the environment that we've created for ourselves, that safety net that we created for ourselves, are kind of different. So this is going to be important for us to consider as we dive deeper. Now, another thing to consider is about using language appropriate and respectful to the clients and sponsors. Now, sometimes the way and the words and the choice of words and the choice of phrases we use are also important. So it's not just speaking in any form of language. When unsure, always err on the safe side, which means always hold out more formality than informality, because sometimes certain lingos in your culture might be something negative in another different culture. Maybe certain words that you use might be something different to another culture as well. So it's very important for us to consider the choice of words we use with our clients, the choice of terminologies that we use, or the choice of phrases that we coin. So being sensitive for that, are you mindful of your own language that you use with your client? Are you mindful of that? So in your coaching practice, always really important as you practice, get observers in your coaching conversations. Engage us as mentor coaches to help you to see your blind spots. In fact, in our mentor coaching success classes, that's what we do. We help coaches identify their blind spots. So every single week or every single month, we have mentor coaching classes where we help coaches to identify areas of their blind spots, help them realize that the language they speak truly matters, because that is the foundation of connection. When I speak the language that you can associate with, you have more trust in me. Now, another one also is abides by the ICF Code of Ethics. When you become an ICF member or when you become an ICF coach, what do we mean by that? We mean that we associate to the ICF Code of Ethics the values and the core beliefs. Which means that I want all of you watching this video to go through the ICF Code of Ethics. And that's going to be important. And it's going to be important also for your examination as well. Part of the CKA exam, you'll be tested on the Code of Ethics. As coaches, it's always important to renew and revisit those Code of Ethics every single year. Now think about this. Early on, I talked about what happens if a client is crying non-stop. What do you do? What happens if the client comes to you with a clinical condition? What should you do? What happens if the client comes to you with certain issues at home, which demands for a higher authority to intervene? What happens if your client tells you certain things that have contravened the law? Should you step in? Should you alert authorities? What should you do in those situations? So in the subsequent videos, I'm going to break down into some case studies for you to examine some of these attributes and how would we approach ethics in such considerations. Now let's take a look at some other points. Number 5, it's about maintains confidentiality of the client information per stakeholder agreement and pertinent laws. Number 6, maintains the distinctions between coaching, consulting, psychotherapy, and other forms of profession. And number 7, also refers to clients to other support professionals as appropriate. Okay, so this is very important in this whole process as well. Now, what do we mean by maintains confidentiality of client information? So the way we store information truly matters, because as we write down our notes, do we leave them all around? Do we put them on the internet? Now be careful when this data leaks out, because your client's confidentiality is at stake. Now I often recommend coaches to use shorthand, so which means the notes that you've taken are codified in a certain way that only you understand, so that in the event when it leaks out or unknowingly, those notes will not compromise the relationship with the client. And when you keep the sessions, at the end of all the sessions that you have with a client, you need to properly dispose them in a way that maintains and promotes confidentiality. Now, your client has confidence in you because they know that whatever information they share with you, you're not going to go around spreading news, you're not going to go on Twitter, on Facebook to talk about them. And so that's going to be key in the whole process as well. Now, another thing, it's about distinctions between coaching, consulting, psychotherapy, and other support professions. As coaches, are we clear about the different distinctions, the different nuances? Now remember, the support interventions are a continuum. For some people, they may need instruction, so they need some consulting. For some people, they need some therapy to work on their healing of the past. Coaching focuses on the person on the future orientation, helping the person to move forward, getting them from here to where they want to be. In fact, in one of our videos, we talk about that as well. So check out some of our videos in our YouTube playlist, and you will be blessed by some of this information that we have there. So consider the distinctions. In fact, in some of the videos, I also break down some of the therapy tools that we use and how do we integrate it in the coaching conversations. How do we transform some of those practical tools? For example, in fact, one of the programs that we teach is called Cognitive Behavioral Coaching. CBT is very popular among therapists, but we apply that in the coaching context, right? So that's something really exciting for all of us to take home with. Now, another is also about referring clients to support profession. So, for example, one of the things I always tell coaches, partner with your local doctors, partner with your local professions, partner with your local consultants, because you can form a partnership. For example, if the client requires more consulting, you can always recommend them to other professionals, and the other professionals can recommend them to you. For example, sometimes doctors may partner with coaches to work on certain life issues. For example, the doctors may diagnose and they may work with the coach to continue the engagement with the client. Some clients may need some healing. Some clients may need some internal work in the alignment of finding some sense of purpose and clarity. So that's when the coaches step in to help the client to get a sense of clarity and purpose for themselves. So whichever the different support functions, it's important for you as a coach to understand when to deliver those support mechanisms, when to help the clients in this whole process as well. So those are 7 different elements or sub-points for demonstrating ethical practice. Now, again, in your coaching conversation, this is not directly observed, but this is observed across the multiple sessions as well. So when we uphold the confidentiality, when we uphold the spirit of ethics in the ICF way, in the ICF Code of Ethics, I want you to read that, remember? And I want you to begin to see and think about how all this applies in your coaching conversation. So whether you're at the ACC level, which is Associate Certified Coach level, PCC, which is Professional Certified Coach level, or MCC, Master Certified Coach level, ethics is the bedrock of it all. I want you to work on those ethics process, because if you don't, if you compromise the ethics, every single thing will not go in place. For example, if all you do in a conversation is to tell the client what to do, you are telling them, giving them the direction, blocking them in a certain way of thinking. Now, locking them in a certain way of thinking, and that's the way you guide that you're guiding them, then that becomes more consulting. Now, if you spend most of the time in the coaching process talking about the past, helping them go into the deeper past, into their childhood, into their existentialism, or going back into the emotional setbacks, helping them heal the traumas and everything, and that's more therapeutic. So when you do all those things, remember, one of the key attributes of coaching is helping the client to move forward. Now, it doesn't mean that the other tools are not important. Well, depending on the context and the situation, a masterful coach knows when to help the client or when to refer the client to other support functions, and when to tell the client, hey, maybe coaching might not be for you. Maybe you might require consulting. Maybe you might require therapy. Maybe you might require something else. So remember, always have our clients at heart. Ethical practice is about always having our clients at heart, not ourselves. Because remember, our clients' life matter. And that's why Coaching Changes Lives is built upon this premise that every single life matter, every individual life matter. So every conversation we have is a conversation that is meant to transform. Transformative conversation begins first with the heart and the spirit of conversations and going deeper. Because as a coach, the client is coming to you in a vulnerable state. How do we deal with that is going to be key in supporting the client and supporting the client's growth. So there you have competency number 1, ethical practice. Share me your thoughts, your questions that you have in the comment section below, and let me know what are questions you may have about ethical practice as a coach. How is that relevant to you, and how is that becoming more important in this day and age, especially when we move to more virtual coaching? How is the ethical practice of a coach matters, and also what do you think might be the future of ethics as coaches? How would that evolve? How would it change? How would it transform? And what do you do when you're faced with an ethical challenge? What should you do? How should you approach those issues as well? So share me your thoughts in the comment section below. If you like this video, give a thumbs up, subs if you like as well, and share this with a friend who may need to understand and go deeper in the ICF core competencies. Now, I want to encourage you to come and join in one of our classes called Mastering Coaching, where we lay the foundation of coaching process of masterful conversational work. So whether you're in the ACC, PCC, or pursuing coach credentialing, Mastering Coaching is a great start. Next, consider also our team leadership performance coaching, where we dive deeper into the PCC level of competencies. And when we look at the transformative neurolinguistics programming coaching as well, we go in deeper as well. So whether you're looking at the ACS stage track, the ACTP track, the CCE tracks, all these tracks are meant to support you in your coaching journey. Now, I'll love to engage with you more, and do stay tuned with us because I want you to engage with us on this platform. These videos are meant to support you in your learning journeys as well. Let me know also what other videos you love to listen to and you love to learn from, because these videos will be there to support you in your coaching journey. So whichever school you come from, these videos are here to support you and help you grow. Okay, so stay tuned for more videos coming next week because we're going to have a lot more insights into different components, and I will dive deeper in each one of these points to help you break down and to help support you in your growth and journey as a coach. So I'll see you next time in our upcoming video on a coaching mindset. Do stay tuned and remember to watch all the videos in sequence and revisit them again because there are a lot of interesting nuggets that I will lay for you all across this video. So this is Jedi here at Coaching Changes Lives. So glad you can join us, and I look forward to seeing you in one of our classes upcoming. See you really soon.